Hey, this is Ryan Webb, and hope you're doing great. So here I have a very cool and aggressive heavy metal guitarist, Daniel Lovett Horn, from the band. He's the guitarist from the band Promethium. They have a new single out called Visions. What can I say about the track? It's heavy, aggressive, and it grabs you by your, you know what I mean. So this is gonna be a chat about, all the good stuff, gear, a crazy collection of guitars that the man himself has. So if you are into such videos, please subscribe to my channel, would be really appreciated. So let's dive right into this. And hey man, thanks for taking the time and having
no
this
problem,
chat with
dude.
me.
No problem.
So let me get the introductions out of the way. Who is Daniel Lovett Horn?
He's a guy that lives in Lancaster and trying to escape COVID. And he plays in a band as well.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Not bad, is it, that? I'm the guitarist for a band, Promethium, Lancaster-based, Northwest. We've been around just over 10 years now. So we've got a couple of albums we're working on at the moment. Got a reissue that's was due out this year, but it's going to be next year now. And so that'll be the 5th album, and then 6th album of brand new stuff out next year as well. So busy times at the moment. All good, all good.
Cool. That's great, man. So I'm guessing you're ready to dive into a lot of gear chat. Let's
get
go
going, man.
Straight into that.
Let's
get right into that. So let's start with the how you recorded the the single. The first thing that when I hit play, freaking hell, man, those guitars are so in your face. Like, what the hell? So, what made you guys think, I want the guitars to be the main focus of, main drive for the track?
Yeah, I think the thing is that each album you record, and you'll know the same, you learn something every time. You realize, you go back and you go, right, I've done this wrong, I've done this right. That works, a bit more, that'd work good, or that just totally doesn't work. And I think every time I sort of learned something in the studio overall, like what equipment works, what stuff can sound too muddy, where you can double track, where you can't. And that's what we've done this time. We've sort of learned from a lot of past mistakes. And I think the thing is that we've been, this time, if anything, I've done more experimentation, even though we're remixing and remastering the first album because it's 10 years, and obviously technology's come on better for doing drums and everything. We wanted to re-record 3 songs. So rather than just quickly do it, I spent time sort of looking at, right, okay, I've got loads of amps. Yeah, whenever we go, my problem is you go to the studio, I take a load of gear. I'll take 3 different heads, 2 cabs, 20 guitars. And then you go, what did you use last time? I used that and that. And you try it and you go, yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it? And you just go with that. And then you sort of sat there going, what have I bought all this equipment for if I'm never going to use it? And that's the one thing that I found anyway this time, is that, I need to, let's spend some time, let's work out what's good and what isn't, and go from there. So we spent a lot of time sort of looking at, right, okay, this amp's going to work with that amp, let's do it. And as opposed to just going and using a couple of your guitars, I used about 2 or 3 this time, which was quite good. And spent time, and it's worked. It's definitely worked. So I was happy at that.
So which amp did you use for the single?
I used 2 actually. I used, and I have, you see, yes, yeah, I have brought them here so you can see in the rehearsal room, taking them out. So I'll just see there.
Labogas, man, and Marshalls, cool.
And I was looking in the. I used to have, you had, and you'll have had it. You had rack gear. I had rack gear going up here. I thought it sounded great. Yeah, when you went to a gig, it sounded rubbish. So I was like, I need to get an amp. And I went through it and I tried the Marshall out and I thought, I'm happy with this. And I got it. And everyone was slating it. And the only person at the time who was really into it was Thingamajig Testament, Alex Skolnick. And I was like, really pushing it. And I thought, I like his tones on the new album. I got one, and that's it. So I've got 3 mode 4, stacks now. And they all sound a bit different. But the thing about them, they're reliable. You turn the clean up, it doesn't get distorted. Turn the distortion up, the volume, it doesn't add more distortion. It's just a really good amp, but it's a misunderstood amp. And because it's solid state, people are very anti that.
Yeah.
What's the amount of times people go, wow, what's that? Marshall mode 4. Oh my God, I had one of those. It sounded rubbish. This is all you have to do, and showing them how to sort of dial it in. But the Laboga, I mean, that's just a great amp. That's like a 5150 on acid. Everything the 5150 wasn't. And that just got like a bit more of a treble sort of side compared to the Marshall, which is like a low end sort of thing. So the two mixed together work really, really good.
Yeah. So what cabs are you using? Are you going to your traditional vintage 30s or?
Got the Marshall Mode 4 cab, which is like, it's Kerry King used to use them with his JCM 800s. It's about twice the size of a normal Marshall cab, and it's about 5 times the weight, and it's a fantastic cab, but it's very bass orientated. And the one thing is with the Marshall, the head, you can't use that head with any other cab. If you do, it sounds awful, and you'll just blow it. Yeah, I've done it a couple of times and just blown cabs. So the one downside is if you're ever in a support slot, which is a quick changeover, you've got to bring the cab in. You know what I mean? So there's always this two-man lift sort of thing. But it's cool. It's cool.
I really messed up though when I say, what cabs are you using? I say vintage 30, but Celestion, vintage 30 has freaking speakers, man. So I should have just diagrammed. Totally, somebody's got to say something down in the comments if they watch this. So anyhow, which guitar did you end up using on the particular single Vision?
Well, I used two. So I've got them. I used the main one, which is my Annihilator Jeff Waters Ran guitar.
Freaking hell, man! That looks amazing.
This is like, it's really weird. It's hard to describe, right? But this was Jeff Waters from Annihilate. He used this on the Masters of Rock DVD, and when he put it for sale, I missed it, and I was really gutted. And a guy in Japan who became a good friend got it. And I bought a lot of guitars off him, and he told me, and he said, "You never guess what I bought." I was like, "Git." And he just literally, because at that time, I can't remember why, I bought something else and it means selling something and da-da-da. And then literally said, right, I've got it, I'm using it, when do you want it? And he sold me it for the same price. I got a great deal. And what was funny was, it came through, there's a couple of chips, and I have to admit, I've added a couple of chips. I don't gig it anymore. I did do it, but it's the first guitar that I've ever had where you play it and you're like, I'm home. I found it. It's everything about it to me is perfect. I can play this and it just works with me, goes with me, and it's fantastic. It really, really is. It's an older body. Seymour Duncan is the Invaders.
Wow. I use Invaders myself, man. All the way. I think I've got 3 guitars. It's just Invaders, and it sounds killer.
No, it's fantastic. And you know what? It's one of everyone who plays it, they might not like V's, but I just say, just play it and just feel the neck. And everyone's like, oh my God. I've also got, he had 4 Ran guitars, and I've got quite a few Rans, but I managed to get, there was a black one as well, and I've got the black one, which is great. It's really cool. And it's also signed by Jeff as well. But it's the studio guitar that you plug it in, and you just play it, and you're just like, yeah, that's it. And straight away. And it just works, and it cuts through.
Yeah. Which brand of strings are you using on those?
Ernie Balls, 9s.
Cool.
It's all I can't. Yeah. I'm rubbish. I can't anything else, and it hurts my hand. I'm a wimp.
I see what you mean, man. I've lately just got into this what do you call, like a 11 gauge NYXLs for go onto a drop C, a tuning thing, and it's quite a challenging thing in the beginning, but it's just it's all right.
I mean, I've tried, and I've got a couple of guitars that have got 10s on. Yeah, but I'm just a wimp. I like 9s. I like 8. If Malmsteen uses 8s, I can use 9s.
Yeah, of course.
No, I'm one up on Malmsteen. That's it.
So, have you done any mods on that guitar or any of your other guitars?
No,
all right.
Nothing. No. The other one that I used, which is quite a newish one, and I've wanted one for ages, is Gibson V, which is a 1981 Flying V.
Cool.
This is why they don't make Flying Vs like this by Gibson anymore, I don't know, because this is probably the greatest Flying V that Gibson have ever made. They made it for about 3 years, and it's mahogany body, maple top, and it just kills. It's a bit of a chunky neck. It's quite similar to like a 59 style neck, but it's just fantastic.
Cool.
The only downside is I've got another one that I'm getting at the moment, which is the Sunburst version. The only downside is not original pickups, it's pearly gates.
All right.
Great. It's fantastic, but I just wanted it. I really wanted it. The original came with those Gibson Dirty Fingers, and they're killer pickups. I've got a couple of those. So I did want an all original one. So I'm trying to just get a deal done on a Sunburst at the moment. So I'm just on with that. But it's just a fantastic guitar. Plays great. Yeah, it's a bit of a chunky neck, but it works.
That was guitar number 2, though. We got 38 more to go.
No. And I brought the other one, which was fun, which I did do a couple of little things on.
Wow.
He's
freaking awesome, man.
George Lynch. Yeah.
Cool.
This I had this custom made by my mate who does like all my repairs for me and everything. And I was like, I really want to get one of these George Lynch guitars. And I said, but they look rubbish. The copies were just terrible out there. And he was like, right, I'll build you one.
Yeah.
Listen. And he said, what do you not like about it? I said, they look cheap. I said, I don't like bolt-ons. He's like, right, there you go. So he made a through neck version, did everything, did it, and it's fantastic. It's great. It's not dead practical, and it is. I mean, it's like a tank. What it is. But it just screams, and it's ridiculous as well. It's the scariest thing. I mean, the carvings on it, you can't fully see, but the carvings
crazy, man. I could just imagine by just looking at the damn beast.
Yeah, it's like you notice it when you play it and do it, and if you stand up and you're strapped, it's like afterwards you're like, oh my god, what's happened to my shoulder? But it's just great, and I've had such a good time with it playing it. Yeah, it's a good songwriting guitar as well because you pick it up and you just have fun with it. Yeah, you go back. 80s and you start remembering all your Steve Vai and Satriani riffs, so
does it ever end up on any of the recordings?
I've done the only thing I did do on this, which was funny, I took it down and I just did a bit of cleans with it just to try it. I thought I'll just try it because I've never put it on a recording yet, and it worked and it was quite cool and it's nice. So we've done on some of the things, just done a tiny bit of cleans on it. I just wanted to get it out and try it, but to be honest, this is more like it's more my guitar for sort of like having a bit of a play and sort of doing it sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Having a bit of fun. But it's great. Like I say, you play it on it. It's just, you're not forcing yourself to, oh my God, I need to be this, just get it. And it's just like, it's a fun guitar. Yeah. So what I love about it, it's a great thing. And everyone, like I say, everyone who sees it.
So can we have a quick run through, if you can remember all the brands of guitars that you have? Go for it.
I've got probably about 5 or 6 brands, guitars, like most Flying V's. I've got one that's a Warrior style, that's quite nice. And then I've got probably about 10 Gibson V's, something like that. A nice Gothic one that's really, really cool. That, to be honest, that literally I managed to get that and it's never been touched, never been played. So it's quite one that I'm sort of keeping. I've got like another backup Gothic V that's a bit dented and everything, so I use that. Then a couple of Les Pauls. I've got a really nice Ace Frehley Les Paul that I always wanted, got that at a steal, and I couldn't say no. So I think I'm up to just short of 40 now, something like that. It's ridiculous. I use 5. It's the addiction.
It is, isn't it? Once you get started, you get locked into that. It's like, what can I get another one? The
problem that I've got is that as soon as I see something that I want and I get it, I'm already on to the next thing. So like that Gibson V, I wanted one, I got it, and I got it at a brilliant price. Yeah, it's not fully all original, it's in great condition. Yeah, there's 2 other versions, there's a Sunburst and a Natural. And all I'm thinking is, I need to get those other 2. I don't need them, but I want the thing. And you're like, it's just an obsession. Yeah. It really is, Don't drink and do drugs, become an AA guitarist. That's the worst thing.
So that is a crazy amount of guitars, man. And I would say like the majority of your guitars are all Gibson, right? I've
probably got more Gibson than out, but I use the bands. What I've got as well, and what's funny is I've got 2 of the Epiphone, the Jeff Waters guitars that are just like they're normal Gibson Flying V, but they're by Epiphone, and they're actually better than the Gibson. They actually play and sound better than the Gibson. And it's funny as hell. It really, really is. The amount of times, I've taken them, I've gigged with them loads, taken that. The amount of times people have gone, why are you using an Epiphone? You played it, you heard it, and you're like, wow. So, forget that. It's a totally different thing to the Rand, though. The Rand, when you pick the Rand, you're talking about your Jackson custom shop quality.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's way ahead of that. It's a far better build quality.
Cool. So I'm guessing you have a very crazy pedalboard.
No, I'll impress you, right? This is how old school I am. I've literally, this is a new one. I'm all prepared today. All prepared. All right. I've got two of the Boss, the BCB, like 6 boxes.
All right.
And that's all I use. I use about 5 pedals. That's it. That's how quiet it is.
That is a simple setup, man.
Yeah.
EVH all the way. Yeah. Cool.
This is one I've just put together at the moment, which is just, I've got a standard sort of gig one, and this is one I've been playing with. And I've got the Boss noise suppressor, which is one of your main things that you always have, just your noise gate. I've got the thing that's the golden bit is the Phase 90. These are one of the coolest pedals ever.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of these. This is the original one when it first came out. It's like a brick, totally. Amazing sound. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to take this out and damage it anymore. So I got the new version, and the new version just like a plastic, and it sounds nowhere near as good. With this, you can really dial, even though it's one knot, you can really dial it in. The other, it's either on or it's off.
Yeah.
So it's just not great. And then I've recently got, just to try it, the new EVH, well, it's not new, but the new Bbh Chorus.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a good pedal. It's a good chorus, easy to use, sounds great. And then these were all ones that I got during sort of lockdown when I was bored and on eBay. And then discovered you could order stuff via Tolman, and it was like no price whatsoever. It was so cheap.
Yeah.
Got the new well, not the new. I got I fancied a new delay, so I got the flashback.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest delay out there, and it's easily one of the best.
Yeah.
It's great. But the thing, to be honest, which is like the golden goose, which is like unbelievable, is, and I've been using these for a while. It's a make called KHDK.
All right.
Which is Kirk Hammett's pedals from Metallica. So he started designing his own pedals, mainly sort of like overdrives and a bit of distortion and boosting. And I got one, and it was called the Ghoul Screamer. And I was using for years. I was using one of those, just MXR. Just EQs for boosting the solos live.
Yeah.
They're always all right. They're a bit sort of thing. And I got this Ghoul Screamer. Someone said, try it out. So I ordered it, tried it, thought it was crap. And I think I was just having a bad day. I used it again the next day, and he was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And then I made friends with Dave, Dave Cohen, who's like works with Kirk Hammett. It's hit their company. And he said, have you tried the new Ghoul Screamer? I said, yeah, I've got it. I said, no, the new one. I was like, what's that? He said, it's a mini version. I'm like, well, I've got one. I went, well, you said it's like, and the way to describe it's like a tube screamer on acid. The tube screamer is always everyone uses it.
Yeah.
Great. That just took it to another level because there was so much more control. And he went, the new one, he said, it literally fits in your pocket.
Yeah.
And he went, you will get rid of your other pedal. I was like, nah, and I got it. I'll just try it. I'll get it. And it was like, wow. And considering that it's less knobs, it's half the size, you plug it in and you're in Van Halen heaven. It's fantastic. That's the thing. Occasionally I do move pedals around and sort of try it, but once you get into something, I mean, I had my pedal board, the one that I've just recently messed around with. I had the same pedal board for 10 years.
Cool.
I just didn't need to change it. And I think the thing is that once you start getting into changing it too much, you can get more obsessed about the pedals than the sound. And at the end of the day, what do you need when you're in a metal band? You need a clean and you need a lead. That's
so
it.
what are your thoughts on, these modelers like, the Line 6 Helix or Axe FX or Kempers? You're laughing, man. This is going to be interesting.
It's weird, right? Because I've gone to, I went through, when I was younger, I went through doing gigs, and I'd take the massive rack, which was like 2-man push and everything and you used to do your sound check, and the sound guy would just come over and go, can I sound quick words? Yeah, what's up? And he goes, you sound shit. I've got £10,000 worth of rack here. I think you're wrong. He goes, it probably sounds good in your bedroom, but it sounds shit. And you're like, okay. Cool. And then all of a sudden you suddenly realise, yes, it does. It sounds great in my bedroom, but it sounds shit. So I went on to amps. I was happy at that. And then all of a sudden this modeler side started coming out and everyone started using it and doing it. And I think there's some good points and there's bad points. I've got a couple of friends who I think are fantastic guitarists, gone to watch them live. And you're like, where's the power? Where's the oomph? And you sort of like, and we went to watch, probably me and my best mate Jay, we went to watch Queensryche about 3-4 years ago, walked on into Brighton and they've got campers. You're like, oh, okay. And Queensryche, brilliant band live. There was no oomph to the sound and you're just there going, right, okay. And I found that a lot. We've done a lot of gigs with people who've got the Helix and got that. And the amount of times you're like, they're going, you boost it, can you turn it up? Can you know, and you just like, there's no oomph. And the funniest thing we did a gig with someone probably about 2 years ago, and they had, it was one of the Helix. They had this full system where it was in-ears and a big rack that was all linked to that. And halfway through, the whole thing cut out. The guy played 2 or 3 songs, and it was like, you not even realise that there's no sound? Because you've got a stack, that Marshall Mode 4, you're playing there. You don't need a fan because that is blowing your hair and blowing your ass. That's, you know, and you're like, how can you not tell or feel? And that's part of the thing. Yeah, the funniest thing, and I'll sort of say on this, is that the amount of times that I've met people they've got the amps and they've modelled them and you listen to them and you go, crap.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend who brought one round. I was like, I'm not interested. He said, let's do your Mode 4. And like, he didn't do it in the studio. He just literally it was a 20 quid mic, put it in front of the cab. This is what you do. And I'm not joking. I was like, wow, you've done a brilliant job compared to these people who are spending all this money in the studios to do it. Personally, I'm not a fan. I'm old school. I like it. However, I understand it for saving money, not going to places. Get it. Totally get it.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of, I don't know, there's no oomph. There's no.
Yeah. Do you think because you know, when they use modelers, it's most of these you know, guitarists probably goes straight into the PA, or they don't use cabs or, you know, power amps on stage, so you're not getting that full, you know,
that's what
air
it is.
that's hitting back of your legs, or, you know.
That's what it is. I just find it, like I said, I've gone to that many gigs and seen them, and you hear that. And it's a bit like when you're mixing, you know, occasionally when you're mixing a song and you get that tiny bit of like distortion where you pushed it too much into the red at the top and you're like, and it's that sort of digital distortion. That's what I find about them live. You can hear the sound, you go, it's a Mesa Boogie. And then you hear that little bit at the top and you're like,
that frizziness, like
it's
sizzle.
Just not
You got this kind of digital sizzle.
I think, you know what, if you're at home and you're doing it, great.
Yeah.
You know, if you need a flyby rig because you can't afford to take a stack or you can't get your cabs when you're fine, fair enough. If you can take a stack and a cab of your amp and do it, I just find it. I think the thing is that, as obviously the thing about you and me now, you know, we're not the young boys anymore compared to, and they,
as
a
you
lot
can
of
see,
they just want, well, it's cold out there. This keeps it, but people just want easy use. That's what the modern generation want. They want easy use. They don't want to do it. Some people, and you do it. Great guitarists, you give them an amp, and they don't understand how to dial it in and what thing. Do you know what I mean? So they're just used to that processed sound. And to me, I'm not. I tell you what, if something came out and did it, I'd jump on it. And you know what? If I was going overseas all the time and doing it and doing a flyby, I understand. But no, I can't do it at all.
What I like about, you know, high gain amps is that you can go everything 100%, and you just plug it in. You just go for it.
Well, that's the thing. And the thing is as well, is that you know what it is. You learn to control an amp. You know that extra distortion that you've got. You know your feedback. You know you've got to hold your pick. You know you've got to sort of do your palm mute. You've got to control it. You know, and a lot of these people, they just don't know that for the sort of generation. That's what it's all. That's how you learn. You learn half your playing by turning your stack up, realizing your crap, and then learning to control it. That's it.
So do you use any noise gates and congestion like front of the amp, or is it like after, you know, on the FX loop?
No, I get confused doing all that. I just use it in front, everything in front. I've just got I get confused with all that send, return, put it in there. Like, too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, do you not get to that point sometimes? And seriously, and I've never done. I mean, I've just used the Boss. I just used the Boss, the NS2 or whatever, which is just got a couple of them. Works, it does it for me. But the amount of times that you're there now, and especially when you get new pedals, and normally on the old bosses, you had one in, one out. These new ones, you're there, and you think sometimes I've got these pedals, and they've got 3 things on each side, and you're going, which one does it go into? I feel like I've got my dad, and you're looking at, you actually get, I have never in my entire life until the last year ever got an instruction manual out of a pedal box. You turn it on, you learn how to use it. That's it. Now, recently, I'm just there going, where the bloody hell do you plug it in at? What do you do? It's not working. Where's it? Well, I've gone in to out, which is the thing, is the guitar, and you're there, and it's just mental. Ridiculous. And no, I get confused. I need it.
Let's get into this single, man. So how did the single come about? Was it based on a riff, or did the whole band come together and wrote the song?
The song that we've done is we've got due out. We've got 10 years of our first album, which was Welcome to the Institution, and the first single we released off that 10 years ago was Visions, which did well. We did a video for it that was on Scuzz, it was on Kerrang, got banned straight away because it showed a woman in distress and there was blood and everything. So we did a safe version as well. So we had 2 versions that got banned as well. So we got a lot of publicity from it, which was hilarious. And then we then obviously 10 years later, the album did really well. It sold the book load. There was like 3 printings of it, did great. 10 years later, we thought, right, technology's come a long way. Let's remix and remaster it. You can get better drum sounds now. We did all that. And then we said, right, we need, besides remixing and remastering, we need to put something extra on. So we picked 3 songs to re-record with the current lineup because there's members now that are different. So we did that. And one of the songs was Visions, which obviously was the first single we'd released like 10 years ago. So we said, let's go in, redo that. And it was quite weird because even though we played live, we recorded it during lockdown. And it was a case of, well, I've not played with a band for God knows how long, because it's been sort of locked down. And it was sort of weird getting in there and turning an amp on going, oh my God. And then it takes you back to when you wrote it. And it was one of these things that, you pick a guitar, usually the first chord you ever play is E, especially when you've got distortion. You turn your amp on, you want to just get the chug, make sure everything's all right, you're doing it. And that's how it sort of came. It just came from like a bit of an idea. You just did it. And I was just sort of warming up and it was like, wow, actually there's something here. And we sort of came from that. And it's quite cool. And it's always been a popular one. We've been playing that song for like most gigs we've done over the 10 years it's been in the set. But it sort of came from really just setting up, turning your amp on, hitting an E chord, and then doing a bit of a whittle, and it goes, oh, there you go. There's something sort of going from there, really.
So do you guys actually go to a studio to record, your album?
Yeah, we've got our own. I've got a home studio here that is in pieces at the moment because we're doing an extension. So I've had to chuck quite a lot of stuff that's like in storage in there. But we've got our own rehearsal room that we sort of do as well, where we can record the live performances and everything. So in the past, I have done overdubs at home, like solos and little bits, clean bits here and there. But here this time, we sort of went into the studio, which is it's our friend's studio that we go to. It's a great studio. It's an old church. It's a great sounding place. And we did everything there. And it was good. It was just weird because we normally use 2 studios. We record the drums at this church. That's a fantastic studio. Then we go to this other studio that's a rundown local studio, but it's got a great sound. And this time we had to do everything at the church with this massive room. And it was weird for me recording it because you're recording with this stack in this massive room. And you're like, whoa, this sounds weird and not normally in this room where it's compressed and you can sort of do it. And it was different. And it was a process that, to be honest, I wasn't quite into, but once I sort of was like, wow, this sounds great. I was like, right, I'm home, I'm happy now. And sort of went from there, really. So yeah, normally the plan is now, as soon as we start to get out, get this extension done, the studio's going to be back up and running. I've got a load more gear that is purchased that's just literally in boxes. And we're going to do, moving forward, the next album we'll literally probably do all here, because we can do.
So do you have any tips and tricks for all the chuggers out there?
I think you've got to find, I think the one thing is, and I had this once, and a guy said to me, and a couple of people have said, it's about having your own style. And the thing about me is, no, I'm not the shredder of all shredders. I do some stuff, but I do always go at it like a bull in a china shop. So you're going to have your triplets, you're going to have your hammer-ons, there'll be some tapping, and that's it. You know what? If you've got 30 seconds to do it, as long as it fits with the song, let's do it. So it's about finding your own voice, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I think over the last few years, it's the first time that I've seen guitarists really started to get their own voice. And I think it's about finding that. I've never been into trying to, like do covers and do all that. I've just wanted to be me and play my own stuff and write it, and that's it, and I think that's the thing. It's about finding your own voice and what. And the way I was when I was younger, I was probably the same as you. You wanted to be Steve Vai. You listen to Steve Vai, Satriani, you're like, that's what I want to do. I don't care if it doesn't sell, that's what I want to do. And then you get to that point, you go, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this. So you then start writing songs. And then I used to say the thing, yeah, I can do that, but I can write songs. And that was it, really. It was like a case, I'm never going to be able to do that. And yeah, I'm just going to go with this. And that's what I found. I just wanted to write songs. I wanted to write songs that could connect. And that was it. And I was happy. And that's what we do. It's about basically find your own voice, find what you're good at and go for it.
If you go dive right into a lot of covers for a long period of time, then you're screwed, basically.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
No.
I just can't do it. Like I said, we've done a couple of gigs, like tribute gigs, where we had to do covers. We had to do a couple of Pantera covers here and there. And it was the most miserable thing I've done in my life, learning someone else's song. Because it was like, you're going to get judged on, are you playing it right? Which I wasn't. I couldn't be asked. And then also you're like, the time I've spent doing this song, because I've not really been bothered about learning it, it's doing nothing for me. So that's it, really. I'm just like, nah, that's it. Unless all of a sudden you're offered part in a band where you go, yeah, I want to do that. I can do it. But other than that, no.
So would you say, how many layers of, those rhythmic chugs do you end up having on the actual?
We do what we do is we do two. I do two normally. So I do one. This time we did one that was the Marshall, and then we did one that was the Laboga. So you had your low end, you had your higher end. And then Rossi, our other guitarist, he doesn't imitate me. There's a couple of songs where if I go to a solo or he goes to a solo, I'll be playing the normal rhythm and he will as well. But a lot of the time he goes, right, you've written that. I'm not copying that. I'm going to write something else. So he sort of does this sort of thing and it works great. He does like the sprinkle on the top, which it might not be the powerful riff, but it's the little melody and the little chords and the jingly jangly, and it works. And that's what is cool for us. So normally we have two rhythms, his sort of like bit that's on top, and then we'll do the solos.
Yeah.
And sort of work from there. Really.
Yeah. So do you find, when you are actually in the moment and you're recording and you're chugging away, do you find that your tune gets all over the place from the pressure? And
no, we have because I sort of like, I'm obviously heavily involved with it because it's so obviously I'm leading the band, so we have like a way of doing things and it works well. So it's a bit like how Metallica were, like certain people aren't allowed in sort of thing, but we do the drums where you need to get a live feel. So you've got the singer in the booth, you've got the full band, you've got the power, you're feeding off the drums, you're like, you're giving the faces, and you need to do that. You need to do that. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was cool. Or that was shit. I don't know how you do that, but it was shit. So you do that, and then it comes to me, which is normally me and my mate Mick, who sort of like has the studio. So it's just me and him. We get the tones, we go through it, and then he'll go, you can do that better, or I'll say, I'm not quite happy with that. And then we usually will add the bass, which again is me, Mick, and the bass player, and we'll go through it. It's about creating the environment.
Yeah.
Do that. And the same with when we bring the other guitars. Now, when you bring the vocals in, the thing about the singer, and especially someone like Steve, great singer, great guy, you need to give him an audience. You need to, because this is what singing's all about. It's the LSD, the lead singer disease.
Yeah.
You need to give him the ego. You need to go, yeah, that was good, or that was shit. That was the worst thing ever. It was embarrassing. It was crap. You've just wasted time. You didn't listen, or you do it. And then obviously other people go, hey, what about this? What about that? So you sort of have to stage it. When you start to get other people coming in, and I've had it before, and you're sort of there and you're like, piss off.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it works like that. We did talk about, Steve sort of said, I want to come down when you're doing this. And I was like, no, you'll annoy me. And it's boring. I want to play with stuff. I want to try stuff. I just don't want you there. I really don't. Just go and do whatever you're going to do. Go home, watch porn, do what you're going to do. I just don't want you there. Like I said, the singers need that vibe. So it's about creating that vibe for people, really. That's it. And, doing it, and the usual thing where if you do a bad take, you don't go, that was shit. You go, right, that was good, but you can do better.
Yeah.
But you know, and that's about it. And it's about creating that vibe in the studio to have that sort of buzz. That's it. And then you do the mixes, and then everyone goes, "Can you turn the snare up? Can't you hear the bass? You put my guitars up. The vocals just need to be everywhere."
Yeah, different opinions. So do you mix your own tracks?
Yeah, we mix. Yeah, me and Mick mix the stuff. So we sort of like I've always sort of done everything. So the first 2 albums, I was like literally there going, "This is this," da, 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 da. And then it got to the point we did the 3rd album in 2017, and I was just like, you know what, I need a break. I've been, because you do get to that point where you're paranoid and you're like, what's that noise? When we had one noise once that we were trying to work out what this noise was that, you know, Mick had said, "I can't hear it." And we were like, "I can hear that." And we managed to find out that it was literally a bat that was flying around above, or a pigeon or something like that. And you were just like there going, "Well, I heard it. Did you know?" And then you're listening constantly. You're not enjoying the track. Instead, you're sort of going, "What's that? What's that?" And so I thought, you know what? I want to record it. I want to do it. And let's give it to someone else. And so we had the Faces of War album, which is the 3rd one. We had a guy called Curran Murphy, who's a good friend of mine, mix it. He used to be an Annihilator, and he's got his own studio in America. And he said, "Right, okay, cool." And he said, "This is what I need. I need the files this side, da 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 da." And it was okay. I was like, I'm happy. And then you start to get your panicking, and the panic to me was, I'm losing control. I'm not going to be there. I'm not. Da, 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 da. And then you started to get mixes back, and the mixes were great, but then you had little sort of like things, and obviously then there's a delay of a day getting the next mix back. And so it was like, okay, he did a fantastic job. He was brilliant. It worked, and I needed the break from doing it. However, now I've got into the headspace of going, right, I now need to take a break. Done enough on that, and that's the thing. And I find taking a break for a couple of days or whatever, you go back to it and it works. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing. So I do think working, I mean, Mick, who works for us now, it took him a bit, but now he's become like quite a vocal part in the band where he goes, "Dan, no, you're totally out. That is wrong. We need to do this. No, you're wrong, Mick." And then you go, "Actually, you're right." And he was originally in the band James years and years ago, and he's got a great ear. Metal isn't his type of thing, but he loves what he's done. He's wanted to make each sort of like record better and improve. And I think the thing is that when we did Faces, we said we're not going to mix it. He now wanted to say, "Listen, I want to prove that we can now go up a step again." So every album we have done, and now he's just like, "Right, this is what we're going to do drum wise. This is where we've gone wrong before, like what you said. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I think." And he's nailed it, and he really, really has. And it's been good. It's just been the only thing about doing this last thing, especially with everything with COVID. It wasn't the studio. I love being in the studio, but this time it was just a weird scenario.
Yeah,
and it wasn't as enjoyable. But the bit, even though the recordings come out great and I love it, the bit that got me was we did the final mix. We had to do it via Zoom. So we've got a Zoom. We've got me and Steve on Zoom. There's Mick on Zoom. And then he's sending the channel of the music back, and we're listening to it. And I just wasn't enjoying it and not feeling it through the big speakers. And at the end, we listened to the mix, and we was like, "It's fine. It's great. He's happy." Yeah, you've not fully enjoyed it. And then he said the weirdest thing. He went, "It's good, isn't it?" I was like, yeah, it's all right. And then he just said, "The new norm, isn't it?" And you're like, shit, yeah. And it was the weirdest thing because you're like, it sounds great. Yeah, I've not been in the big studio in front of the desk, hearing it powered out. Instead, I'm here with headphones. And you're like, yes, but it wasn't as enjoyable as previous sort of things.
Cool. Well, man, this has been a really great chat. What can I say? Can't thank you enough. So what are you up to right now?
Just at the moment, man. I'm currently. Let me just check the time. I've got 20 minutes, so I'm all right because there's something finishing on eBay. Just checking the wife's not there. Reverb's at 9 o'clock. So no, just at the moment, we're just currently writing for the new album. So I'm finishing off mixing the redo of Welcome, and then that's nearly done. I'm just going to go through a few changes on that. And then we're just currently writing the new album, which we're about 6 or 7 songs in now. But again, it's just weird because not everyone's here and you're sending ideas, and it's like one of those internet bands now where you're sending an idea. What do you think of that? Yeah, that's all right. Whereas normally, you play a riff and you go, yeah. That's what I'm missing. I'm missing at the moment. I'm missing the engagement. Missing someone going, crap.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with that.
Yeah.
So no, there's plenty of stuff on. It's just about keeping yourself motivated at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks a lot, man, and I really appreciate you taking the time and having this chat with me.
No, I had a great time, mate.
Hope I get to hear more of your new music, you know. Do let me know, and take care.
You too, mate. And you look after yourself. Stay safe, dude. All right.
Take care.